Hi there, and welcome to your virtual shopping experience. I'm Richard Morris, and I'm excited to take you shopping for the next few minutes. Now, this is step one of the three-step equation: shop, prep, store, and win. So this is where it all begins. And speaking of where it all begins, right here is where we're starting in front of the Tupperware. This is absolutely necessary for meal preparation. If you don't have the right Tupperware and storage items, forget it. So let's pick them out. The thing we have to remember when it comes to preparing and storing the food is we need 2 large bins, 4 medium-sized bins, and 6 small bins. So today I'm going to show you exactly what to buy for ultimate success. You ready? Here we go. I have 4 big pointers for shopping. Number 1, shop 1 time per week. Get it all done once a week. Number 2, shop the perimeters. Hit the perimeters up first. I'll explain a little bit more about that later. Number 3, eat 30 minutes before you go shopping. This helps to keep those triggers down. And finally, number 4, get in and get out. When we peruse around the aisles, it's triggering. It kind of gets those old habits up and going. So we're going to get at the perimeters, get in and get out. We will be going up and down the aisles, but we need to be very specific and deliberate about which aisles we're going down. All right, here we are on our once a week shopping experience. First thing we do, go right to the perimeters. Perimeters are where all that fresh produce is, and we want to load up on that first. Of course, we have all of our vegetables. So with veggies, remember that we're going to be doing 3 servings a day. And what's a serving size? 2 fistfuls. So that's going to be 21 servings of veggies for the entire week. Get all of them in one shot. Now there are some veggies that don't last as long, so those ones you might need to do a quick second trip for, but for the most part they will last for the full week if refrigerated. Okay, let's talk just a few minutes about your nutrition plan. Let's say you're on the most common nutrition plan that we offer. That's the carb cycling. We call it the classic carb cycling. There's also the easy carb cycling. But we're going to do this carb cycling plan where we are going on carbohydrates for 4 days a week and then off carbohydrates for 3 days a week. Now remember, when you go off carbohydrates for those 3 days a week, you still are allowed carbohydrates for breakfast. Don't forget that. You do need to have carbs for that first meal of the day, even on a low carb day. Remember that fruits are a carbohydrate. Typically we want to do a serving of fruit per day. We can have more than that, but for optimum weight loss, we want to stick to about 1 serving of fruit per day. Now, you're getting plenty of vegetables in with your 3 servings. So with the fruit, 1 serving a day is just fine, even on your low carb day. So make sure that you stock up on at least 7 servings of fruit. Remember, a carbohydrate serving size is a fist. So that's about the size of an apple. So an apple would be a great fruit. We like to stick to a few different fruits. They're apples, berries, and pears. You can have other fruits, just don't have them later in the day. Stick to the morning time, early morning. I got one big secret for you. Stay away from the juices. They're full of liquid calories, which are horrible for weight loss. Even the seemingly healthy juices, stay away. When it comes to protein, we need 35 servings a week. 5 servings of protein a day, 7 days a week. Remember, protein every time you eat. Like I said, it doesn't have to be meat. But something really good to know about meat is you can find it on sale. This is where I get a lot of feedback from patients that say, hey, look, it's too expensive to eat healthy. Meat's too expensive. But we can find it for under $2 a pound if you shop around and check those ads. So make sure you stock up on 4 different meat options. Number 1 is chicken. Number 2 is turkey. Number 3 is some sort of fish. And number 4 is beef. A word about yogurt. Check out all these yogurts. It is insane, all the different brands and types of yogurts out there today. There used to be literally 2 or 3 different brands of yogurt on the shelf. Now you just see a plethora of them, and they're huge for people who are looking to lose weight. Now you may have heard of the yogurt, Greek yogurt, which is definitely a better choice than all the other yogurts out there. And here's why. When you look at a true Greek yogurt, you'll turn it over to where it has the nutritional facts, and you'll notice that the protein is higher than both the sugar and the carbohydrates. In fact, it should be at least twice as high as the sugar and the carbohydrates. Now, what you got to be careful about are those flavored yogurts out there. Even if they say Greek yogurt, just because it says Greek yogurt on the label doesn't necessarily mean it's true Greek yogurt. So we gotta be really careful. This, for example, has twice the amount of sugar as protein, and it says Greek yogurt right there on the front. So watch out. Best option is to buy 2% fat plain Greek yogurt and add your own fruit. Here we are now buying one of the most powerful proteins on the planet, the incredible edible egg. An egg has 7 grams of protein, and it's a very complete protein. In fact, one of the most complete protein sources on the planet. So when you eat an egg, you are loading your body with pure protein. Now, I know there's a lot out there about how eggs have cholesterol and we should take the yolk out. If you're eating anywhere between 2 and 3 eggs at a time, you shouldn't need to worry about that, unless you have really high cholesterol and it's a hereditary issue. Then you can take 1 or 2 of the yolks out of 2 or 3 eggs. But don't stress too much about it. It's the saturated fat in food that makes your cholesterol go up, not the cholesterol in food. Okay, remember, with protein, 35 servings a week. Now, it doesn't have to be a huge serving like I talked about earlier. It doesn't have to be meat. It could be something as simple as a hard-boiled egg. So keep it simple, keep it on the go, make it fun. And one good thing to remember is with eggs, you can have them more than once a day. It doesn't have to be just one time a day. So I might do a few scrambled eggs for breakfast, and I might have an egg, hard-boiled egg, for a snack later. So there's 2 of my 5 servings for the day. Okay, we need to talk about milk, right? Almost everybody on the planet drinks milk. The challenge is, most people are drinking the type of milk that's not as good for the body. We have learned over the years that cow's milk is not as beneficial as we maybe thought. And usually when I tell people to go off of cow's milk, they say, well, what about my calcium intake? And I say, well, there's more calcium in a cup of broccoli than there is in a cup of milk, or in a cup of strawberries than there is in a cup of milk. So remember, there's multiple sources of calcium out there. Now, when you're switching from cow's milk to another source of milk, I strongly suggest staying away from soy. The best option that we have found is almond milk. Now, when you're buying almond milk, you have to be careful of one thing, that you buy unsweetened almond milk. If you buy the sweetened, it could have up to 14, 15 grams of sugar. So just make sure that you buy the unsweetened. Now, the great thing about almond milk is you can buy it almost anywhere nowadays. So get your almond milk, give it a shot, and it's actually pretty delicious. My kids love almond milk, I love almond milk, and almost any patient that's transferred from cow's milk to almond milk enjoys it. All right, guys, we've hit the perimeters up, and it's now time to sneak through those aisles. So remember what I said earlier, one of the big tips is make it quick, get in and out. So we're saving the aisles for last, and here we are on carbohydrates. Now, if we're on the carb cycling plan, that were 4 high carb days and 3 low carb days, we're going to be doing 5 servings of carbohydrates on our carb days and just 1 serving for breakfast on our low carb days. Now we have 7 servings of our carbohydrates coming from fruit. We talked about that earlier. And now we need 16 more coming from other forms of carbohydrates, such as brown rice. Now, when you're buying things like rice, buy it in the bag and cook it yourself rather than buying the minute rice. Remember that when you get it in the bag and cook it yourself, it's going to have a higher fiber content and be much healthier for you. Okay, there's tons of other forms of carbohydrates. You'll find a lot of these on your meal prep and your shopping guide, so look at those. All right, guys, it's time to talk about fat. Now, how many servings of fat should we have in a week? 12 servings. Now, if you're carb cycling, and I hope you are, fats are absolutely necessary. There was a big fad about no-fat diets in the 90s and the 80s, but that has completely gone away. The body requires healthy fat to survive. In fact, if you're not getting enough healthy fat, your body can't let go of the bad fat. So make absolute certain that you are eating fats on a daily basis. Now, the most important time to have fat is on your low carb days. Remember that every carbless meal requires a protein and a healthy fat. Now, how much fat do we need? Right here, about the size of your thumb. Fat is very calorie dense and we don't need a lot of it. So the size of your thumb is just fine. When it comes to nuts, you can fit about 10 nuts inside of a thumb. When it comes to oil, about a tablespoon of oil. Any fat, we want to keep it to about the size of your thumb. And this includes cheese. A couple great things to help you with when it comes to cooking with fat. Grapeseed oil is the best cooking oil out there. first because it doesn't become destroyed at a smoking temperature. When you cook with olive oil, it actually destroys right when it smokes and it becomes carcinogenic or toxic. We don't want that. So when you're using olive oil, use it as a dressing or when you're drizzling it on vegetables or something like that. Don't cook with olive oil, cook with grapeseed oil. Now, there is no need for vegetable or canola oil. All of these oils can be replaced with olive or grapeseed oil. Stick with those. Okay guys, recap. So what do we need to make absolute certain that we get on our very first shopping experience? Tupperware. How many times a week do you shop? 1 time a week. How soon do you eat before you go grocery shopping? 30 minutes before. And when you come in the grocery store, you get in and you get out. I promise that over time this will save you a lot of triggers and a lot of grief. Okay, now when it comes to the nutrition plan and exactly what you put in your cart, let's go over that one more time to make sure you got it. How many servings of fruits? 7. Now remember, fruit counts as a carbohydrate. In addition to your 7 fruits, you're going to choose 16 more servings of carbohydrates. Remember all the healthy options that you have on your meal prep and shopping guide handout. So that's a total of 23 servings of carbohydrates for the week if you're carb cycling. Remember, that's 3 days where you're doing a low carb and 4 days where you're doing regular or high carb. And how many servings of protein? You got it, 35. And remember, these don't all have to be meats. There's a lot of other sources, and you can find all those on your handout. Okay, and how many servings of vegetables? 21 minimum. And what is a serving of vegetables? 2 fistfuls. And finally, how many servings of healthy fats do you want to make sure you have? 12. And how much is a serving of fat? You got it, your thumb. If you get all these items we talked about, you are now prepared for ultimate success. You're guaranteed to win. Go make it happen. Get to the grocery store today, get your meal prep and shopping guide, and be prepared to see unbelievable results. All right, guys, I'm Richard Moore signing off. It's been great shopping with you. We'll see you in the meal prep video.